Suzuki recently announced that they were moving away from the mass volume segment and focusing their energies on premium products. Now, just about a month later, we've got our hands on the first of these machines. And it's unlike anything you've ever seen at the price point. The new Intruder has a long and flowing design inspired by its much bigger brother, the Intruder M1800. The head turn on this design is the immense headlamp assembly and the long fuel tank, which looks substantial but actually holds 1 litre less than the Gixxer. Above this lies an informative instrument display borrowed from the Gixxer, which sits within an angular cowl. The front of the fuel tank features enormous extensions that swoop down to encompass a big imitation air duct. The rear of the fuel tank tapers down towards a wide and accommodating rider's seat, which is split away from the pillion perch. And the tail, meanwhile, well, that's characterized by chunky plastic panels, a rounded grab handle, and a sleek LED tail lamp. So how does it all come together in person? Well, the Intruder is designed after some huge motorcycles, and it too is surprisingly big in the flesh. You could very well mistake it for a 400cc bike or bigger, and therein comes the undoing of this design. The front section, up to the rider seat, is actually quite striking and does a good job of hiding away most of the engine. But there's not much Suzuki could do about the relatively skinny tires. Running the same 100 section front and 140 section rear from the Gixxer, this is the maximum size Suzuki could use for this level of power without sacrificing on both performance and efficiency. The result is a typical upper body obsessed muscle man look. And while the front end is striking and aggressive, the rear is quite disproportionate. The funky dual port exhaust does well to boost the Intruder's presence from this angle, but it sticks out quite a bit to the side, and that nice silver finish is going to be prone to getting scuffed in traffic or the parking lot. The Intruder styling is striking and polarizing in equal parts. It commands far more presence than most bikes out there on the street, and love it or hate it, you're definitely going to notice it. Overall quality levels are decent, but a few plastics could use better finishing, and it's worth considering what the effect of our roads will be on those numerous body panels in the long run. Borrowed from the Gixxer, this sweet 155cc engine offers a familiar blend of smoothness and eager performance. If anything, the changes Suzuki have made result in a slightly stronger mid-range, and that's ideal for a motorcycle like this. The air-cooled carbureted motor is largely the same and continues to produce 14.8 horsepower and 14 Nm of torque. But there are some changes in the form of a revised intake with a bigger airbox, a differently tuned exhaust, and an additional tooth on the rear sprocket. Now all this is for the benefit of a stronger mid-range punch, and the Intruder delivers well here. However, the top end feels a bit weaker than the Gixxer between 9 and 10,000 RPM, and that's probably down to the additional 13 kilos the Intruder carries over the Gixxer naked. Nevertheless, city performance should be effortless thanks to the strong mid-range, but the bike does start to run out of breath upwards of 90 km per hour, and we suspect top speed should hover around the 115 mark. The engine otherwise offers all the Gixxer traits we love, with refined and eager responses and a smooth gearbox. The Intruder's ergonomics should be comfortable for most riders. Tall people like myself will find the seating position accommodating, while shorter riders will appreciate the low seat height. The seats are well padded, and even the pillion seat is quite comfortable. The Intruder uses a modified version of the Gixxer chassis, with changes made to accommodate the relaxed feet-forward riding position and low seat. The bike sees a substantial 75mm increase in wheelbase thanks to a 20mm longer swing arm, a new swing arm pivot angle, as well as an offset rear shock thanks to the bigger airbox. At low speeds, the Intruder feels surprisingly light and agile for something that looks so big, and this should make it friendly to ride in traffic. Braking performance is safe and confident, and we're thrilled to see that single-channel ABS is a standard offering. The 41mm front forks and preload adjustable rear shock are similar to the Gixxer, but have been specially tuned for this line of duty. As a result, ride comfort is good, but the rear shock does have slightly less travel due to the new subframe and larger airbox. Couple this with a feet-forward riding position, and really bad speed breakers or potholes can give the back a bit of a jolt. But in most scenarios, the Intruder does a great job of proving to be comfortable but fun to ride.
The Suzuki Gixxer is a cracker of a motorcycle, and given the similarity to its frame, suspension, wheels, tires and brakes, it's no surprise that the Intruder is a good handler too. It changes direction fairly quickly, has a nicely stable feel and offers generous cornering clearance. You could easily take this bike out for a weekend ride to a winding road, and it will entertain without feeling out of its depth. The Intruder is priced on par with the range-topping Gixxer SF Fi. At just under Rs 1 lakh, this bike is about 15,000 rupees more than the Bajaj Avenger 150. Suzuki is clearly going for a premium offering here, and there's little to fault with the way the bike rides. As for how it looks, well, that's a deeply personal decision, and we're keen to see how the market responds.